Today, we're in the presence of an automotive icon, one with over 50 years of heritage. No, it's not the Ford Mustang or even the newly mid-engine Corvette. Certainly not the Mercedes SL. It's the car that has the engine in the wrong place. The one that people take on the track, off-road. Some people even take these on safaris. The only car that people do that in is a Porsche 911. So how does the 911 look? The new 992 911? Well, looks like a 911. They all kind of look the same, but that makes them classic and instantly recognizable. It gets a lot of attention. People love it. It's a good-looking car. It's got its front oval headlamps that it's always had, which set it apart. Now with the 4-point LED markers on those headlamps, it's even more distinctive and racy. And the rear has the classic hips that everyone knows a 911 has wonderful hips. In fact, Ferdinand Porsche, when he designed this car over 50 years ago, said the 911's a female, it's a she, and it has accordingly beautiful curves. And it's identifiable, and it's sexy, and it's got a great ass. That ass is functional because the engine is shaped like a suitcase. It's down low in the car with the heaviest parts built at the bottom, the lighter parts at top, so that you have the lowest center of gravity, so you have massive traction. Traction in a way that not even a all-wheel drive front engine car can give you, because it's instantaneous and it's pushing from the best point of grip, and it's a wonderful sensation that no other car has. So truth be told, I own this car. This is my car, my 911. I drove every car I could reasonably think of in a quest to find what car suits me best, and I ended up buying the 911. And I bought the 911 in part because it helps engender enthusiasm for cars, especially kind of cool, fast cars, without completely breaking the bank like a Lamborghini or a McLaren. It also, one of the defining factors for me buying this car was that it has rear seats. They're useful. I have my kids sitting here, and it's a practical car. I use it in the winter. I have winter tires specifically made for this car, and it really accentuates the cool characteristics of a 911, that rear bias, that pendulum-like feel that very nicely Porsche allows you to turn off in increments, especially with the Sport Chrono package. You can turn off traction control, stability control in one step. It gives you quite a bit of sideways action, if you will, before it kicks in, or you can turn it off completely. And when next winter rolls around, I'm going to find a good parking lot with no one around it on snow tires and turn it off completely and really see where the threshold and the limit is on the car. In sport mode, the car doesn't stiffen up the suspension of the wheels, it stiffens up the suspension of the engine mounts. So this car has two suspensions. It has a suspension on each corner for each wheel. It has a suspension for the engine, and they can be softened or stiffened. And when they're softened, this car rides even more compliant than any 911 before. But when hardened up, they feel actually a lot more like a classic 911 with like kind of just an inert stuck engine. It becomes more like a pendulum that 911s are known for. And that really is what's so much fun in a 911. And we'll give it a little burst here. What an engine this 3-liter flat 6 turbo is. Two symmetrical turbos feeding in air. Feels like a turbo down low with good fast response, but then it feels naturally aspirated up top. It doesn't feel like a turboed engine up top. I think it's a great combination. You can have either little GT3-ish action up top, and down at the bottom you get some low-end turbo grunt. And they're very fast turbos to spool. They don't wait long, and they don't seem like a detriment to me because old 911s didn't have much grunt down low anyway. So why not augment it a little bit on the low end, and then on the top end, well, let her rip. And Porsche has certainly done that. This has grit. And the aroma from the engine. I don't know if it's the Mobil 1 oil or other lubricants that they use in that engine, but it smells like a 911. In those sorts of cues, even though we're in a thoroughly modern car with all sorts of safety standards, I still feel like it's 911 because it's sort of subconsciously mentally cueing me that it's the car I used to drive 20 years ago. And Porsche, I think you nailed it. It's new but old. I think it sounds fantastic. It still retains the flat six noise that engine is so well known for. Yeah, it has a lower tonality to it, a low roar, and it's a fantastic low roar that, you know, everyone just kind of appreciates. An engine that has that raspy characteristic flat six. Again, no other engine sounds like that because no one makes a flat six anymore. This car has a personality. You hear it all the time, especially if you open the windows and the sunroof, which I highly recommend optioning a sunroof because you get to hear three distinct sounds in the back of this car, and that is intake noise. You hear turbo spool and you hear exhaust. That is a fun combination to play with. You can't beat that off-kilter, weird kind of buzzing beehive flat six sound. One of my favorites. The PDK is fantastic. It really does feel like I am mechanically switching gears. They're connected to these wonderful metal paddles behind this great steering wheel that feels like the metal paddles are cast to the steering column, and therefore it transfers sort of that weight and energy from you through the car, and it feels involving to me. And it's pretty well established that Porsche's PDK is the state of the art. It can be driven smoothly or incredibly engagingly fast, hard, big shifts, especially in the sportier modes like Sport Chrono. You can kind of have it all in this car. The Sport Chrono pack gives you the launch control, and it gives you an even sportier setting. In essence, this car has like normal, sport, and Sport Chrono, and those are three different levels of variation that makes this car feel very different depending how you want to drive it. And the really cool thing is that Porsche is smart enough to let you play with all those options in an individual mode, or you can also put it into any one of those preset modes and then just hit one of the nice little buttons here and change the exhaust or change the suspension if you'd like, and you can mix and match. Lovely noise. Great turn in. This car, to me, serves as one of the most challenging and rewarding cars I've ever driven. And a 911 really teaches you a lot about weight transfer. When cornered appropriately or correctly, it's still probably not the fastest car through a corner. However, it's really one of the most rewarding cars to drive through a corner when you understand that you need to drive in a straight line into a corner like this, hit the brakes to load the weight to the front, then turn in, get on the gas, and push yourself through the corner, kind of carrying that weight through the front. You can kind of catapult out of a corner in a way that almost no other car can. The E-Pass electronic system for the steering itself now feels to me close to hydraulic in a way that no other car has. Brake feel too is very linear, analog. It has a tendency to almost feel old school. Some of the new fast cars can stop so quickly, so fast, it almost feels like it isn't fun anymore. This car, there's a definitive effort that needs to be given to that pedal to make things happen. And this has the steel rotors, which I like very much, especially driving in winter. A really nice pedal feel to them. They don't squeak or make funny noises like carbon ceramics. They're not real grabby. They're just a nice linear feel, and I feel that they're plenty strong enough, and through a lot of spirited driving on back roads, I've never had them feel like they're going away. Porsche gets it right. The brakes are stellar. The steering is spot on. The seating position is the best I've ever been in. You can sit relatively high up in this car, look out the windows, and you've got a great view all around. Or you can sit really low and get that race car feel, whichever you like, but they're both here to be had. Ergonomics are excellent. Everything's perfectly at hand. I don't have to reach or look around for anything. And the analog tack is spectacular. It looks like a fancy retro clock piece that you'd like to wear on your wrist, but it's in your car. Maybe Porsche will make a watch like it too. Yes, there is a screen to the left and right of the tack. I know one of the gripes about the new 992 is you can't see it, and they're right, you can't see it, and I don't care. I only need to see the tack and the road and the sound of the engine. It tells me exactly what's going on. I don't need anything else. People also gripe that the infotainment system is kind of a mess and a lot of extra buttons. I agree, it is. And the perfect solution to that is taking this little shortcut button and making it be screen turn off. You click that, the screen's gone. No more infotainment system to complain about. It simply isn't there. Yeehaw! A car that kind of does it all. 911, my favorite car.